However, as I began to backtrack and find the path back to the main road, I had stumbled upon something in the forest. Something that sent a cold shiver straight down my spine. Something I will never forget for as long as I live. Don't forget to hit subscribe and smack that bell button to become an honorary Fear Razor member so that you never miss a video. Now, as I'm sure you're quite familiar with the content here on this channel, I've told you guys a lot of stories. However, I wouldn't say there's been many stories I've ever told you guys that I would classify as tragic. Which is why I'm warning you right now, this story is a little bit intense. Every once in a blue moon, we'll hear about a local mysterious abduction that would have recently taken place. This, as you would expect, would put everyone on edge considering not a whole lot goes on here, and I mean that. If you're familiar with my previous stories, you'll have seen me mentioning how boring it can get here, but yeah. So as you'd expect, this kind of news wasn't the highlight of the evening news hour. Now, as I'm sure you guys have heard me say numerous times, where I live, there's not a whole lot of people here. So when somebody's gone missing, the chances of you or somebody you know there are kids playing on my lawn. Do you see this? Do you see this? I am trying to tell a serious story. Where I'm from, there's not a whole lot of people here, so the chances of you or somebody you know knowing who's actually gone missing is probably pretty high, and I mean, you know, that's gonna cause a lot of distress locally. Well, I mean, somebody gone missing is enough to cause distress anyways, but, you know, you get where I'm coming from. One time, while I was living away from home, an abduction had taken place, and I, of course, living away at the time, and following all the news back then, had immediately heard about this. At first, I was pretty uneasy about it happening since it's quite a rare situation to come out of my home province. But with further investigation, I had learned that it was actually a girl who had gone to the same school as me that was the one gone missing. Now, I want to be frank. I didn't really know this girl very well because she wasn't in the same grade as me, but when I had seen her face on the missing poster on the news, I definitely recalled seeing her before. And I don't know if you've ever met or known someone who had suddenly gone missing, or even interacted or crossed paths with them, but it's definitely a freaky feeling. So when this news had gotten out, it had sent widespread panic across the entire city, and from locals to police officers had been gone looking for this missing girl who, for the sake of the story, we'll call Mabel. Now, I want to say that I had never associated with this girl. I mean, heck, I probably saw her a couple times in the hallway back in school, and that was really it. And before I get any further, I do want to say that what I'm about to say next was word of mouth. But from what I had heard, Mabel had not really been associating with the right crowd. And I think you know what kind of crowd I'm talking about here. You know, the crowd your parents tell you not to hang around with. However, in a mysterious moment, the news had released footage of her being last seen getting into a black truck and soon after was never seen again. What made this situation even more intense was that the only suspect in this entire investigation happened to be her ex-boyfriend, who not too long after had taken his own life. This led to many unanswered questions and controversies as to why Mabel's ex-boyfriend had done such a thing. Some, of course, believing it was guilt, but some others might argue that Mabel's ex-boyfriend was in fact not guilty at all, and that because of the unwanted attention of being a suspect in such a terrible and scary situation, led him to being unable to handle the tragic accusations any longer. What, you thought this wasn't going to be that creepy? Well, now that you know the backstory behind what was going on, allow me to continue into my part of the story. So it wasn't too long after all of this going down that I had soon then come home for a visit. It wasn't long before I noticed all the missing posters being placed all over town looking for Mabel, and well, it was quite sad and also scary, as you can imagine. It was really crazy to think that all of this was going down in such a regularly quiet place. But I guess the reality is, there's always bad people around, no matter how quiet anywhere seems. So here I am doing my own thing. You know, I'm finally back. I'm seeing friends, I'm seeing family, I'm going on little adventures, and I'm just going out in nature, just fully involved in all the nostalgia that comes with living away from home, but finally coming back for a visit. So oftentimes this would lead to, like I said, many adventures. I'd go out for walks, I'd go enjoy the neighborhood, I would go on trails, I was just out in nature, I was away from the city. I mean, come on, give me a break, man. You know, when you live the city life for 3 years, you kind of get a little sick of it, you know? You don't even get to see the stars, man. I don't know what they'd be telling you in those fairy tales, but there are no stars when you're in the city. It's called light pollution, folks. But anyways, it was a great time. It was until one strange and creepy night where things got a little freaky for me. So I decided to go walking on a path a little too close to dusk, and the sunlight was disappearing quickly, which of course is not ideal when you're in the woods. Now, I'm not really the type of guy to be prepared in case I was lost in the woods. I mean, let's be real, I'm just not the most nature survival kind of guy. Okay, I ain't Bear Grylls, alright? I mean, I was in Scouts as a kid, but if you think I remembered any of that from long ago, you got another thing coming. Do you have any idea how many knots I used to know how to tie? Too many. Anyways, yeah, spooky night and Dum Dum in forest, not a great pair. Now, I want to come in here and just quickly say that going out in the woods, you know, when the sun is setting, alone, is something I totally suggest you do not do. It's dangerous, all depending where you live. I mean, personally, where I live, there's not a whole lot of bad things out in the woods. I mean, we got lynx here, which is like a big, fat cat. It's fatter than my cats, but more aggressive. I mean, that's a little debatable. But, you know, if you live out in like BC or Ontario, and, you know, that's for my Canadian friends. I mean, if you live anywhere, really, outside of where I live, you probably got bears. You probably got wolves. You probably got something. Feral raccoons. I mean, who knows? The point I'm trying to make here is you don't want to go out there by yourself. Or you don't want to go out there when the sun's setting. Without supervision, at least. Adult supervision. Disclaimer. However, as I began to backtrack and find the path back to the main road, I had stumbled upon something in the forest. Something that sent a cold shiver straight down my spine. Something I will never forget for as long as I live. On a tree in the middle of nowhere was a picture of Mabel's missing poster, just stapled there dangling in the wind. This was a moment where my fight or flight responses had immediately kicked in, as I knew there was something very wrong with this situation. I mean, I was in the middle of nowhere, on a path not exactly close to the main road or area to say the least, and this missing poster of Mabel just so happened to be put here. But why? Why would someone do this? So I ran. I ran as fast and as frantic as I could to the main road, because what was going through my mind was not okay. And you know, it's kind of like when you run up the stairs when you turn the basement light off and you think something's chasing you, but there's nothing. That was me, pretty much, and it was freaky. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. And I mean, seeing something so out of place, and then you kind of just end up putting two and two together. I mean, your mind starts running all over the place. Your fight or flight response kind of starts to kick in, and your mind just starts going wild. So you can only imagine the thoughts that were going through my head at this time. It was certainly a creepy scenario to be a part of. It wasn't too long after when I went home and had explained this to my family. They, of course, also felt very troubled about the situation, but a simple missing poster stuck on a tree, albeit creepy, wasn't exactly much more than that. So it was from that point on that I vowed to never walk down that path again, and I still never have. It's also pretty sad to say that Mabel is still missing to this day, and I do hope some peace is brought to her friends and family soon. Well guys, that being said, that wasn't the happiest ending to a story, but I mean, not every story has a happy ending. Either way, I do hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more great content, hit that bell button, and follow me on my social media, and I will be sure to catch you guys in the next video. Alright guys, take care, be safe when you go out there, don't go in the woods by yourself, and I will see you soon. Take care, have a great day. See ya!